Hey guys, so this video is all about areas of composite figures. So by the end of this video, you're going to be able to find areas of shapes that are made up of multiple figures. So what is area of composite figures? It's really composite just means things are just put together. So composite figures are just figures made up of smaller shapes. So what we do is we find the area of the smaller shapes and then either add or subtract them from, to find the area of the bigger shape. So the example that I have here are two figures. People look at this different ways, and what's important to say is there's multiple ways of cutting up a shape, and you can do it however you want. The best way I'm going to do it is I see this shape as a rectangle with a triangle on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of the rectangle, and then I'm going to find the area of the triangle, and then I'm going to add them together. Okay? So the area of the rectangle, again, is base times height. So that's 6 times 10, which is 60. So that's this area in here. The area of the triangle is my base times my height divided by 2. So I don't know the base of my triangle because I know it's not all of that 10. So what you have to do whenever you're breaking down a figure is you have to look, okay, my base is going horizontally like this. What other numbers are going horizontally? Well, the 10 is the distance from here to here, and the 6, which is my distance from here to here. So this leftover piece, I know this 10 is going to be up here. Okay, so this whole other side has to be 10. So this leftover piece has to be 4, because 6 plus 4 has to equal that 10. And those are the horizontal pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into my triangle formula, which is base times height divided by 2. My height being that 4 inches, and my base being that 4 inches. So that's going to be 16 divided by 2, which is 8. And then I'm going to add them together. So my total area is 68 square inches. Or 68 inches squared, however you want to write that. So I would do the same thing with this process. Okay. Again, I see a rectangle and a triangle. So I'm going to find my area of my rectangle, which is going to be 4 times 12, base times height, which is 48. Now I have to find my area of my triangle. I'm going to add them together. Okay. The problem is now I got to find my base and my height. Well, I can use the same process here to find my base. So this blue line up here, well, if this whole length is 12 and this section is 8, what's left over is 4, because those are my horizontal pieces. My height of my triangle is only this piece right here. So I have to recognize that the 10 is that entire length. But I know that this 4 feet, and this have to be the same. So what's left for the height is 6 feet, because 6 plus 4 is that 10. So I'm going to do base times height divided by 2, 24 divided by 2, a total of 12. So when I add them together, my total area is 60 feet squared. So that's the process. I'm just going to break down the figures, find the areas, and either add or subtract. For the next one, you might not be able to see it. It's kind of washed out. But there's a big rectangle, and there's a trapezoid. So the reason why I wanted to review this was to review the area formula for a trapezoid. You might not be able to see it, but there's a 6 feet inside the pool. So it's talking about the pool. So I can find the area of my rectangle, which is 28 times 14. Then I'm going to find my area of my trapezoid. The area of my trapezoid, and I'm highlighting this, is B1 plus B2 times my height divided by 2. B1 and B2 being the two bases, the two parallel sides. In this case, the two parallel sides are my 6 and 4. My height is the gap between them, which is 2 divided by 2. When I find the area of both of those, then I'm going to add them together because now we're making a bigger figure. So 28 times 14 is 392. Here I have to do the 6 plus the 4 first. I get 10. 10 times 2 is 20, divided by 2. That's another 10. So when I add them together, it's going to be 402 feet squared. For the next one, you're going to see two rectangles, and then there's this funny little square in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of this orange triangle first. So the orange triangle is going to be 6 times 7, which is 42 feet squared. Now I'm going to find the area of that blue, which happens to be 6 times 8, which is 48 feet squared. If I add these together, I get 90 feet squared. The problem is, these aren't separate things, they're overlapping. So when things are overlapping, we gotta find the area that they overlap. And they overlap in this section here. Okay? So what we have to recognize, we have to find that area of that middle piece. I have it highlighted as green in there. So we have to find the length of this side, in this side. Well, what we can do is, this says it's 2 feet on the outside. And I know the whole length is 7. So this middle piece in here has to be 5. So it's going to be 5. Then I can look at this and say, okay, this whole length is 6 feet because it's the same as this side. Opposite sides are congruent. But this little section outside is 1. So that's another 5. So the area of that middle piece is 25 feet squared. So that's the area that I have to take away, or minus away, to find the total, which is 65 feet squared. So sometimes you have to add the areas together, but sometimes when they're overlapping like that, you have to subtract. I want you to skip this question, and I want you to go into this. Okay? Now you don't see the different colors in this, but there's a yellow piece up here and there's a blue piece up here. And one of the key things that we need to talk about are word problems. So Madison is in charge of the set design for her high school's rendition of Romeo and Juliet. Does that matter to the question? No. Okay, it's just setting the stage. So I'm just going to ignore that. 1 pint of paint covers 80 square feet. That is important to my question. And it gives me a clue into what I have to find. Every time you see square feet, I'm going to have to deal with area. Okay? How many pints will she need of each color if the roof and tower each need 3 coats of paint? The other key piece to this is 3 coats. Okay? It means I'm covering this thing 3 times. And the question asks me, how many pints? Okay, that is my grand question. how many pints. So it's not a straight just what's the area, it's how many pints. So I have to relate it back to this 80 square feet. So the first thing I need to do is I just need to break it down into the figures. So the yellow piece is a triangle. So let's find the area of the triangle. Okay, that's going to be base, which is 5, times 6, divided by 2. So that's 30 divided by 2, grand total of 15 square feet. Okay, but how many times do I have to paint this? I have to paint this 3 times. So it's not just 15 square feet, it's 15 square feet 3 times, or times 3. So I have a grand total of 45 feet squared that I have to paint. Okay, so that's my total area for my yellow. But how many pints of yellow do I need? Well, I know 1 pint of paint covers 80 square feet. I have 45 square feet to do. So really, if 1 pint covers 80, that's going to cover my 45. So I need 1 pint of yellow. Okay, now let's do the blue. The blue is a rectangle. So that's going to be 5 times 12, which is 60 feet squared. Again, I'm painting it 3 times. So I'm going to times 3. It's 180 feet squared. Now that's my total area. But the question is asking me how many pints. So I know that 1 pint covers 80 square feet. So I have 180 feet. I'm going to divide by 80. When I divide by 80, 180 divided by 80, I get 2.25 pints. The question is, though, how many pints should I make? Well, I can't walk into a Home Depot or a Lowe's or home improvement store and ask for 2.25 pints. I'm going to have to ask for 3 pints of blue. Because that is how much I'm going to need. I'm going to have extra. I'm going to have leftover. That's what happens in a home improvement project. You always have extra stuff. So I have to relate it back to real life situations. The next fits right into our dream house project. So they're getting new carpet in their family room, and they want to determine how much the project will cost. So this first part really is just setting the stage. Okay, it's all about carpeting. I'm just going to cross that out. We're not really worried about that. We have this huge diagram over here. That's going to be perfect. Okay, use the floor plan shown to find the area to be carpeted. So the first step is to find the area. Okay, find the area to be carpeted. Okay, so I'm going to break this down. I see a rectangle, and I see a trapezoid. So let's find the area of the rectangle first. So for part A, I know 24 is my base. But what is my height of the figure? My height is determined by this vertical measurement here. Well, I know this whole length is 17, but my blue line here is not all of that 17. Part of it is made up of that 6. So the blue line is actually only 11 feet, because 11 plus 6 is 17. So 24 times 11 grand total of 264 feet squared. Now I'm going to break down the trapezoid. The trapezoid, again, is base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So my base 1 is 9. My base 2 would be this long side. But because I know it's a rectangle, I know this is 24 feet also. Plus 24 times my height, which is 6, divided by 2. So it's a grand total of 33 times 6 divided by 2. I should get a grand total of 99 feet squared. So my total for this is 264 plus 99, which is a grand total of 363 feet squared. So that's my total area. That's part A. Check. Okay. Now part B says if carpeting costs $4.86 per square yard, that's actually kind of expensive for carpeting. How much will the project cost? So it's $4.86 per square yard. Oh shoot, yards, feet. Those aren't the same measurements. So what I have to figure out is what's my price per square foot? That's the first thing I have to do. Well, a square yard is 1 yard by 1 yard. It's also 3 feet by 3 feet. So there are actually, this is 1 square foot. 1 square foot. So if I'm looking for the price per square foot, I would actually, there's 9 of them in a square yard. So to figure out the price per square foot, I'm going to take that 486 and I'm going to divide by 9. Because I know that there are 9 square feet in 1 square yard. So I'm going to do 486 divided by 9. My grand total is 0.54 or 54 cents per square foot. That's really cheap. Okay? Per square foot. Well, now I know this is per square foot. I know there's 363 square feet in my room. So I'm going to take 363 times 0.54, my square footage times my price per square foot, you get $196.02. So that's going to only cost me $196.02 to carpet that room. So the next step would be to move on to the practice with the composite figures. Make sure that you break it up into something that you know. Easiest things are always rectangles and triangles, but sometimes you're left with trapezoids and you just have to remember the formula. Thank you.